So let's start with some definitions. First, we have the base of an exponent, which is the number that gets repeated. The number that tells you how many times you repeat is called the power, or often the exponent. So what we want to do is evaluate these type of exponent expressions. So 4 squared simply means 4 times 4, which is 16. That one's a pretty basic one. But then when we start getting into negatives, we have to know whether the exponent is applied to the negative number. In this case, it's -5 times -5 times -5. In that case, you get 125, but you also get a negative answer. Now, if we do this problem, we're going to get a -2 times a -2 times a -2 times a -2. And because there's an even number of negatives, we end up with 16, and it's positive. Here is the trick. This is the tricky one. This 4 goes with the 2. It doesn't go with the negative sign because it doesn't include it with the parentheses like this problem. So the negative is our answer, but now we get 16. 2 times 2 times 2 is 16, but the negative is on the outside. It doesn't apply. The exponent only goes to the 2. Here, the exponent goes to both of it. So this is what this means, or this one means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 with a negative. And that's how we get our -16. Okay, now we're going to simplify algebraic expressions, as we've been doing in every section so far. As long as the terms are alike, we can simplify them. In this case, they are the same exact letter with the same exponent, and that stays as part of our answer. Then we add the 7 and the 2, and we get our answer 9x cubed. So we look over here, we have an x squared and x cubed. Unfortunately, they're not alike, so this one cannot be simplified. Cannot be simplified. So sometimes a problem can be simplified when they're like terms, and sometimes it cannot. Now we're going to use order of operation. So we just must do PEMDAS, and PEMDAS simply means let's do any parentheses, there are none, any exponents, there are none. Then we do multiplication, so we have to do this part first. So the 18 doesn't change, but this is a 6 minus 10. And then once you get to addition and subtraction, you go left to right. So 18 plus 6 is 24, minus 10, we get 14 as our answer. Looking at our next problem, we have exponents that we must do first. So we get 36 minus 24 divided by 4 times 3 minus 1. So I've done all the exponents. Now I do my multiplication division, left to right. I'm going to do this division before I do this multiplication. So that's 6, then times 3. So I get 36. 6 times 3 is 18 minus 1. And now I can add these, which that's 54 minus 1 is 53. Our last problem, we're going to do the multiplication first. So it's 20 plus 12 minus 17, minus 17. And then I go left to right. That's 32 minus 17. I get 15 as my answer. Our next type of problems, we need to substitute first and then do order of operation. So we're going to take the negative, which is on the outside, and I'm going to substitute a -2 for the x squared minus 7 times a -2. Now, if I do just the exponents, this becomes 4, but we have a -1 on the outside, so it's a -4. 2 negatives gives us a positive 14, and then when I add those, I get 10. This is the trickiest of all problems in terms of order of operation because of the negative sign. Let's look at our next one where we have the same kind of thing. I have a negative, and then I'm substituting my -5 for the x squared, minus 4, and a -5 for the x. By doing that, I must do the exponents first. That's a positive 25, but the negative is part of it. And then a negative times a negative is a positive 20. And when I add that, I get a -5. Our last set of problems is, once again, simplifying algebraic expressions. So I'm going to start in the very middle and distribute if I can. So this will, in the brackets, I'm going to have 6x squared minus 12 plus 5. So there's my brackets. And out here I have 18x squared plus 4 with a minus sign. Inside the brackets, these two are like terms. So I can have 6x squared minus 7 in the brackets and 18x squared plus 4 minus. This is a negative 1. So if I take a negative 1 and distribute, I have an 18x squared plus 4 negative 6x squared when I distribute. A negative times a negative 7 is a positive 7. These two are now like terms after I've removed all the parentheses, so I can add them. These two are like terms, so I can add them. Nothing else is alike, so that's my simplified answer. Let's take a look at this problem. I'll start inside the brackets. So I'm going to have a 14x squared plus 5, and I'm going to put the negative 1 outside the brackets because that's what's there. 7 times x squared is 7x squared minus 14 plus 4. So I remove the parentheses inside the brackets. Now I can combine my like terms in the brackets. So I still have 14x squared plus 5 minus 1, 7x squared minus 10. Now I can distribute this negative 1. So 14x squared plus 5 to give me a negative 7x plus 10. And now these two, oops, that's a squared. These two are alike, same letter, so I get 7x squared. These two are alike, so I add them and I get 15.